Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. As you know, the tea has just been going everywhere, so it's time to have some coffee. And we're not going to spill that. Okay, so as you know, part 2 of the tell-all on 90 Day Fiancé was recently leaked, and they don't really know how. Somebody got it accidentally in their emails and accidentally put it out there. And then a lot of us accidentally watched it, so. So a couple things to expect. First off, Jeffrey is not on the tell-all. So, there have been some online petitions saying, that he's just not a good guy and he has all this criminal background and whatever, and, you really shouldn't have people like him on it. And so I don't know how exactly that slipped through the radar other than maybe when he applied for the show, I imagine they check him out somehow or some reason, some way. And, maybe since it hadn't gone to court yet and, it was just pending, maybe they said, well, he hasn't officially done anything, so we don't really have reason not to put him on. All he would say is that they won't be working together anymore, him and the company. It's fair enough. Varia, however, was invited to the show, and she declined. So I'm sure she has to know about the things that he's being accused of, which are basically violent things against women. So either she doesn't want to go and have people throwing that up at her, or they are not together, which is kind of what I'm thinking, is they're not together. And she doesn't want to explain to anybody why they're not together, okay? So she will not be there either. And so I guess that's a done deal. He did propose, and we didn't really see what she said the last time. We'll probably find out Sunday. In my heart, I am thinking she said no, simply because her mother wasn't wild about it, and people over there tend to respect their parents' opinions a lot more so than people over here. But we'll have to wait and see. So then we have Usman and Lisa, and apparently they are married. He is in Nigeria, she is back in Pennsylvania, because that travel ban is still going on, I mean, along with the coronavirus thing, they still have the travel ban from Nigeria. Now, recently, another social media person, whose name was Lisa Wishes She Were Me, tried to contact Lisa and tell her that, he's talking to other women, he's trying to find another way over, and, he's going to divorce you, or he's taken on another wife, and blah, 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 blah. And Lisa absolutely went ballistic. And she was out to get this woman. She wants to know who she is, where she is, yeah. But it also had come to light that Lisa tends to call him a very derogatory name. That people aren't really, some people use it, but it's just a very hateful name against people of a certain race. Okay, all right, got me. Okay, so I don't know, with her threatening people and then, also having the recordings of her calling him this name, I don't know why they are considering having her on the tell-all. But, it is what it is, so I don't know. So then we have David and Lana. Now, all of us, and me included, we all thought he was being catfished big time. Lana does not exist. He went over there how many times? Supposedly never found her. He went to places where she supposedly frequented, and they never heard of her. He went to an apartment that she lived in, and the guy there had been there for 20 years, and he didn't know her. So we were all for sure that poor David is just going to get his heart broke. Well, in a plot twist, somehow he goes back. Number 5 is a charm, I guess. And he actually does meet her. And he proposes with this little cubic zirconia ring, and she says yes. Yeah, isn't that sweet? Now he says he did not buy a real ring, even though, he acts and talks like he has all this money that he can just travel back and forth and he can spend $100,000 and it's no big deal. He says that she wanted to pick out her own ring, so he decided to get something that's just a temporary, Okay, logical. He also says that she does not get paid for being on these websites. That they'll have contests or whatever. She can get makeup and stuff, and she's just so poor and, has nothing. Okay, now, whether they show this or not, it was said, okay? He was talking about women being high maintenance, that he didn't like that. He also said when he was there, he got her an iPhone. So they could communicate more directly. But she didn't like it. It hurt her nails. So he's going to get a computer, okay? Now, he also said the computer that she is using is only for the site. For the agency gave her the computer to use for their site. But in the same breath, he also said she works from home, processing visas and arranging travel and things like that, and even something to do with school kids. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but so if she can't put any other programs on this computer, like Facebook or Messenger, to talk to him, how's she putting all these other programs on this computer to do her so-called job out of her home? Okay. Well, at the tell-all then, it's also brought up that she's on a number of these sites talking to people. And Caesar made an appearance, since he was, Caesar and Maria, he was also catfished. He says, we should just make a fake person and, get on there and try to talk to her and see how she reacts. If she's looking for someone else, if she's just, hey, how are you, whatever. David says, well, we already did that. Okay, because she's supposedly talking to other men on the site, saying that they are her only friends, that she's so lonely, and she just doesn't go anywhere because she's shy, and, that's her only friends, her only communication with the outside world is to talk to these men on these sites, and he just has to understand. Okay. Now, I'm sure Lana is not stupid. Do you not think that a lot of these men that she's talking to, she probably has spoken with for, 3, 4, 5, 6 years at least, she knows who they are, or she knows that they will send her money and things, gifts and whatnot. Some new guy pops up and wants to talk to her all of a sudden. You don't think maybe she's thinking, oh, I bet they're trying to set me up. She's not dumb. Come on. Anyway, so they hadn't spoken for several days. She doesn't want to go to the tell-all. She had been getting emails from people saying, oh, aren't you that girl that is on this 90-Day Fiancé show with this guy? And I imagine it's wrecking her business. And, maybe her employer even said, what are you doing? You're putting yourself out there, and you're not going to have customers coming in here because they all think you're with him. So she didn't go. They did ask her, however, how much he had spent on her, in her estimation, sending money and gifts. And she chose to skip that question. Even though he says he hasn't sent her anything major, just birthday gifts, Christmas. She makes it sound like, he's done a lot more than that. So while people are picking him apart, Usman comes up with a good idea. He shows up, and he's actually very nice, and he seems to be a very well-educated young man. He says, instead of going through this site, Facebook's been around a long time. Why don't you guys communicate another way, a cheaper way, and you just directly give her the money rather than giving it to the agency. And And David gets all kinds of mad. Well, that's just not how that works. I'm not paying her to be, talking to me. I pay them so we can continue to talk. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. Especially when he says that she has 5 pairs of shoes, she has no clothes, and she doesn't even have her own place to live. So why would you, if you care for this person, give them the money? Knock out the middleman and just give it directly to her. Anyway, he says they haven't spoken now for 6 days. And when asked about the status of their relationship, he says, well, I don't know. So they say, are you engaged? Well, yeah. Are you going to get married? Well, I don't know. So he really don't know. They haven't broken off the engagement, but she has been avoiding him lately, saying that it's depression and the stress of all these emails and, people telling her, how can you catfish this guy and whatever. So we don't know if they're together or not, and we may never know. He may not ever know. Okay, so the next little catfish was Yolanda. And when she appeared, I know she has a weight loss book, and she has advised people on how to do that. And she herself had dropped like half of her weight when she, when the show was aired. She's just downright skinny. Come to find out, and there was no testing done at that time because it wasn't a big widespread problem. She thought maybe she had coronavirus at the end of the year, and she wound up in a coma, and her lungs had shut down, and other internal organs were starting to shut down, and miraculously she came out of it. And, she said that she hadn't heard anything from him during that time, and after she got out and got better, whatever, that they communicated, and she's still, I don't think she's taking her kid's word for it yet. Maybe she's starting to kind of say, yeah, I think this is a scam, but I don't know. But anyway, she had a very close call, so, very glad that she's up and running again, and we don't know, maybe it was coronavirus, and maybe not, we don't know. We'll never know, other than the fact that she was in very serious shape. So, you've been given a second chance, Yolanda, so go find someone real, fall in love if that's what you want, and be happy. Okay, then we have Avery and Ash. And these two met online. He's in Australia, she was in Washington State or Oregon? Washington, right? I think. Anyway, they were on again, off again so much. She's very jealous of his job as a relationship coach, which he coaches mainly women. And, part of me can't blame her, but another part is like, he was doing this before he met you. This is his income, so leave him be. So, apparently, in one of their on-again, off-again situations, they were actually broken up when the show called and said, we would like you guys to be on. So then she immediately called him, and he agreed to do the show. Okay, so chances are they would not have gotten back together, maybe, if it wasn't for the show. And, they seem to have just too many major differences. He came off as quite a jerk during the thing. And to tell all, what I have heard is that she comes off as, at first this, well put together, sensible, intelligent woman, and later in the show comes off as batshit crazy, okay? So it could have been fault on both their sides. We just do not know. Now, Stephanie and Erica, who were the first same-sex couple on the 90-day series. Steph was a YouTuber in New York, and Erica was more or less, I think, another social media person in Australia. So there's a match made online, right? Stephanie went to visit, and every episode at least 10 times brought up her illness, which is aplastic anemia, which she could get very sick or end up in a hospital if she doesn't take her medication. And wear masks and hand sanitizers, and if she even gets a cold, it could be fatal. So we all know this. What this is implanted in our brain forever now, because we've heard it every time. So apparently, she's like that all the time. This isn't just put on for the show or staged or anything. She is always carrying on about her illness, which I understand her fear, and people might tend to forget, if you have this young, healthy-looking person that's, running around doing whatever, they may forget that she actually does have a disease that could kill her if she got sick. So they might not be as mindful of being around her, if they have a sniffle or whatever, if she doesn't remind them. They are also not together. Yeah. Erica's just this bubbly, happy sort of person, and Stephanie was just Debbie Downer from day one. And even though, on Erica's end of it, at least, there was a physical attraction and, a mental trying to make a connection, it wasn't enough. Stephanie was totally not like her YouTube persona of, being happy and taking dares and so on. And in real life, she's just very timid and doesn't want to try this and wants to know everything about you. What is with the baggage? Why do you have to know everything about somebody's past if it doesn't affect you? Again. So apparently they're not barely even on speaking terms right now. And it's really sad because, I was kind of pulling for them, even though they were different. I thought maybe they would have, I thought Erica could probably spread enough positiveness and happiness in this relationship to, keep them going. Apparently not. So, then we have, I believe the last one, Ed and Rosemary. I saved the best for last. Oh, poor Ed. Poor big egg, Ed. He goes to the Philippines thinking that he's like a target, Well, I want to get married. I want someone in my life. So I'm going to go here. Let's see, do I want this one or that one or maybe this one? He seems to think he holds all the power and all the control, okay? And she did let him think that for a while. This guy straight up humiliated her in front of the world. Anybody who watched the show was thinking to themselves, what a jerk, that poor girl. If you really care for someone and you're going to their country, first off, you should read up on it, watch some documentaries, see what life is really like there before you go. And if you do go and someone is kind enough to open their home to you, don't criticize. Be polite. Remember, they don't have much, but they offered what they had to you. So say thank you and be grateful. Don't run them down, okay? And don't run her down. If this is a person you even think you want to have a life with, even if the production company said, yeah, we noticed her legs are hairy, so why don't you tell her to shave them and we'll get it on film. I always have the option to say no. The point is, though, he, pushed her buttons. He hurt her feelings, and she basically was the bigger person and just kind of, okay, well, we'll just forget about it and we'll keep moving from here. Until he brought up that he didn't want more children, and she does, because she's only 29, 23, I don't know. She's young. And that was kind of the deal breaker. She had a very good point. We have been chatting, we have been talking about our plans for the future and so on. Why didn't you say something then, before you came here? And she's right. when you're talking online and you're getting to that point where you ask the other person, you know, what do they want in life? What is their plan? What are their goals? If she said, well, I want to have a family, a bigger family, that should have been his clue to say, oh, well, you know, I really don't want to have more kids. But he didn't. He went over there with the idea of controlling her, you know, calling the shots. He was going to be the one to decide whether they were going to be together or not, and he was going to be the one to decide if she was coming over here for a green card. And Rose went off on him in epic fashion. I think the world gave her a standing ovation when she finally called him on all his bull. He so had it coming. Okay, now, pictures have circulated online of Rose wearing an engagement ring. And the pictures are photoshopped, and you know there's all those filters and things you can use. And some people were saying it was a woman she's engaged to, and others were saying no, it's just a younger man. So I don't know who she's engaged to. But apparently she has moved on and found someone. She has also moved on and has a TikTok and Instagram and more followers than he does. Yay! So she also had, you know, said she didn't want a GoFundMe. A lot of people felt so bad that they were actually going to start a GoFundMe for her. And she said, no, I don't need or want charity. I'm going to make it on my own. And she's doing a great job of it, okay? Meanwhile, Ed is coming under fire for talking somewhat inappropriately. I haven't really seen the conversations that he's catching flack because there are a bunch of like junior high or early high school girls, kids, commenting on some of his videos and things. And I guess basically the story on that is he had followed another social media person, or else this person followed him. I don't know. They somehow followed each other because this guy liked his videos, and he has a much younger audience. And Ed probably didn't even think about it, you know. Then all these kids are starting to follow him. And I guess when you go live, you can't really see who is commenting, or you know, you don't really have time to say, okay, who's this person? Let's see. You know, so he just made comments back, and it got blown out of proportion. Is he a pedo? Yeah, he very well could be. He could be. On this one, you know, I will kind of give him kind of a pass. Yeah, he went after Rose, and she's a lot younger. She is legally of age, though. So that's, you know, that's something. And, you know, he is not that young to where he would maybe have all the knowledge of all the programs and all the social media groups and know how to run everything so you don't get caught in something like that. He may not know, okay? I will give him that. I will give him ignorance, okay? But that is all. So apparently, out of all the couples that we have, no one is together other than Dave and Lana, and he's not 100% sure. He thinks they are, but he don't know. Okay. So the tell-all should really be interesting. Now, one thing that was really disappointing in this, most of them, at least one of every couple, had some kind of a reason to be there, okay? Usman had his song. Stephanie and Erica both were social media people. Ed had a social media thing. Avery and Ash both did. Yolanda had a book. Yolanda has her online dating thing. But, you know, Dave and Lana are the only ones really that are not kind of on trying to build their fan base, if you would. And there's Jeffrey and Varia, who, you know, he has enough trouble staying out of jail, I think, to worry about being on social media, although that has now changed. But most of the cast has had another agenda, along with being on 90 Day Fiancé. So I honestly don't think they really cared if the relationship worked out or not. It was just like, we'll play this part, and if it flies, great, and if it don't, oh well. So, very disappointing season, really, because no one other than David and Lana, nobody is together as far as I can tell. So, thank you all. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll get this coffee mopped up here, and I'll see you next time.